All right, I have a reading right now that is a request from the Patreon page, and we're going to start with the initial question of whether or not Hamas got weapons from Ukraine. And then I want to take a deeper look at the whole situation, but we're starting with that initial question of did Hamas get weapons from Ukraine? All right. Well, the Knight of Wands is the root card, is very impulsive, right? And the knight is a soldier, but this is like impulsive movement as far as that goes. Right away, this would kind of show that Hamas would be getting weapons from maybe a new source, or like it was an impulsive deal. So the main card is the Death card, and in the Death card, there is new energy about to be born here. And to make room for that, they kind of clear out the old thing. Now, there's a couple things I'm getting here. One of which is kind of just getting rid of old weapons because they got a bunch of new ones, right? And the other thing that I'm seeing is maybe getting rid of an old method of getting weapons because there is a new one. So let's just see what's on either side of this. The Ace of Swords and the Ten of Cups. Damn. So the Ace of Swords is showing sort of taking initiative. And the Ten of Cups is a happy reunited family. So I guess the real question would be whether or not there is a pre-existing sort of a link or a pre-existing cooperation between Hamas and Ukraine. I don't really know enough about the situation or the history or any of that shit. But looking at this, I would assume that wherever they were getting weapons from, they would be considered part of that family. But it does look like there is a new source of weapons. And an Ace of Swords, maybe they're fucking making them themselves, right? Because that shows taking a certain amount of initiative. But looking at the whole thing, unless there's a pre-existing link between Hamas and Ukraine, I do not think that the answer is yes for them getting weapons from Ukraine. I'm going to pull one more card here on this happy reunited family just to see if I can get any context on that. Well, a Six of Pentacles. So from the looks of this, it had been uneven, right? So the other parts of the family would have had a lot of resources, and it would be kind of like an act of generosity or pity. It would be giving, right? Just giving whatever resources or whatever here to Hamas. And through this, whatever has recently happened, it's more of an even thing, right? They're kind of together, where here, I mean, maybe they were cooperating, but it wasn't even before. And this looks like somehow this has evened out. But I'm still, unless anyone knows about a pre-existing link here, I'm still going to take this as a no. Now, let's collect these because I want to look at the situation on a grander scale. So let's just take a look at this Israel and Hamas situation and see what comes out. Take a peek at where it is now. Interesting, a Seven of Pentacles. So this is learning by doing, but the thing that is sticking out to me is the drawing of blood, right? So there's the drawing of blood from the tree, and the card itself is basically a witch practicing witchcraft, but I think that what's happening is drawing blood. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So let's just look on either side of this. Oh my God, there's cards flying everywhere. So back here, and the one that flew out on the floor. Okay. So the Two of Cups, in leading up to the drawing of blood, the Two of Cups is showing a perfect moment. It's a perfect, harmonious moment for it to happen. So the conditions must have been exact, right? And then we have the Seven of Pentacles here. And as it moves forward, I think this is supposed to be upside down because it was on the floor. But a reverse Page of Cups. Dang. So the Page of Cups is a relatively young entity. And here it shows them being in reverse. So where they would normally be very optimistic and sort of open, this is showing them being very pessimistic. And it's also showing trying to hang on to something past its time, right? So one of the ways that this can show up with these two cards in particular, here is a perfect moment. But if you want that perfect moment to last forever, and you try to hold on to that moment past its time, then you end up as a reversed Page of Cups. So whatever sort of assistance that Hamas, and I'm assuming that's what this is talking about, is Hamas, right? Whatever assistance they got, I would not expect it to continue. Or it's like the conditions won't be the same. Maybe that's just because, you know, Israel will be more heavily defended at this point. But it looks like they're not going to handle that very well. So, all right. I guess I'm just looking at magnitude of this. Is it going to create fucking World War III, right? And as we look at the magnitude, for one, it's a minor arcana card. And I think this is a good thing because this is probably not talking about world war. But the Seven of Wands is about emerging from a place of restriction. Jeez. So let's find out what the restriction is. And the restriction is justice, fairness. Now, I'm pretty sure this is talking about some sort of law or peace treaty. And the events of this emerge from the restriction of the peace treaty or the law or whatever it is. Now this is looking a little creepier. So let's see over here, what does it emerge into? From some sort of like legal binding. And we get a Knight of Cups reversed. So from that, boy, I mean, the only connection I'm really making is the Knight is the older version of the Page. And here both of them are reversed. So we've got this Page reversed. And as this energy moves forward out of a peace treaty and into some other shit, we get a reversed Knight of Cups. Boy, I'm going to have to pull another card on this because I honestly don't know how to take it at this moment. And then we get the World. Boy, I'm going to collect these because that didn't really fucking make the fireworks go off in my head. So let's just see. What does this move toward? Especially moving out of some restrictive law or restrictive treaty. What are we looking at in the future as far as this goes? And a Three of Pentacles is showing cooperation. Okay. Cooperation of who? A Four of Swords. So this would be the sleeping entity, right? All right. So if we go back, this is some entity or country or something that has been restful, that has not necessarily been engaged in any of these like combat situations or whatever. And here it looks like the one that hasn't been involved then becomes part of the crew. All right. And let's just go on the other side of this here. So it looks like it has a lot of negative financial impact that is kind of forced with this Seven of Swords and a reverse Nine of Pentacles. That is forced negative financial impact. So this 3, is this NATO? And this is going to be a yes or no. Is NATO going to get involved in this? Boy, and a 6 of Swords. If so, it would only be in the air. I think this may be with airstrikes or something like that, but I don't think this is like troops on the ground. But the 6 of Swords is more about moving away from an area of conflict to a place of peace. But I guess the thing that is really coming out here is just literally an airship. So I don't think that this true cooperation, unless we're talking about airstrikes only, is NATO. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to put a timeline on this because I believe that Israel has declared like formal war. So let's try to get a timeline on how long this lasts, and we get a fucking King of Cups. So the King of Cups is showing that is going to be up to a specific leader, and there is no natural timeline, right? This comes down to what a person decides, and that has yet to be determined. So I'm guessing that that leader here is Netanyahu, but who knows? Who knows who is actually calling the shots? Let's see if we can get anything on this king. And the reverse tower would show that they are coming from a place that of disruption and explosion, like the tower. It's reversed. So it's like, even though there has been a bunch of destruction, they're still sort of having trouble moving away or moving forward from that. Geez. Anyway, this doesn't bode well for any sort of timeline on the King of Cups, because if someone is stuck in a reverse tower situation, something has been taken from them, but they're not living their life as though the thing that is taken is gone, right? So this is the King of Cups kind of living in the past, and I don't think that bodes well for any sort of timeline on this conflict. And I don't even know who the leader of Hamas is, so I guess let's look at that and just see from their end, because I kind of have been looking at this as though Israel holds all of the cards, but let's just look at Hamas, and here we go with emerging from restriction. Damn. It's like they are free to do things that they were not free to do before. That's interesting. All right. Well, let's just put here what they're kind of moving toward. We get a Queen of Wands, and this is recognition. So it's like they feel like they're finally being recognized. And I don't think that bodes well either. So as far as timelines, this could be rough. And World War III is possible. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. But a larger, like a cooperation of other nations. But I think it would be just with airplanes and shit like that, not with ground troops. But that's what we get here, and I do not know shit about any of this stuff. So, if you know more about this, feel free to chime in. And that's what we have for now. Peace.